Tasigur of the Golden Fang, a mono-black commander for 6 mana and delve, and he can be constructed in a lot of different ways. Mostly, he is built as a control commander, and you can also call him something of a political commander. So let's talk about his activated ability. So for 4 mana, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then an opponent of your choice, choose any non-land card from your graveyard and return that one to your hand. So he can return a counterspell back to your hand. And the way that Tasigur is something of a political commander is because that if one of your opponents are trying to combo off and win, you can make a deal with another opponent to ask him to give a counterspell back to your hand from your graveyard, and then you can deal with that opponent, because that other opponent doesn't want to lose either. He's going to give you that counterspell. But there's one more thing that we need to mention about his ability. As the cooldown of his activated ability is after his mana cost, meaning that put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard is not part of the cost, meaning that you can activate his ability even if you have no cards left inside your library. Meaning that if you have infinite mana in your mana pool, you can activate his ability and return the same card over and over from your graveyard and just recast it over and over. So let's look at Reality Shift. For 2 mana, exile target creature card from an opponent, and that player manifests the top card of their library. So what you do here is that you cast Reality Shift on any creature card, let's say a Bird of Paradise, activate Tasigur's ability, you have no cards inside your graveyard and you have no cards inside your library and you have infinite mana. You take back Reality Shift from your graveyard and recast it on the manifested creature card that you created, and this will exile his entire library. In the end, there's a lot of different control cards that can be turned into win cons when you have infinite mana and can infinitely cast them over and over, and Reality Shift is a good example. So in the end, even though Tasigur can be constructed in a lot of different ways, they're all trying to achieve that infinite mana and then kill everyone with something like Reality Shift. Now the most common way of trying to achieve this is with Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal. And Tasigur being a control focused deck, Reality Shift and Counterspell also fits kinda perfectly together with Isochron Scepter. If you're skipping out at trying to achieve this combo, you can achieve infinite mana in other ways, so you could throw away at your Isochron Scepter into one of these 2 combo cool cards. But to make Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal work together, you pretty much need a lot of artifacts that are going to be able to produce mana for you, so you're pretty much playing the entire rock package. But also, since you're on the color identity of green, you're going to be playing a lot of mana dogs like Bird of Paradise. And that Bird of Paradise and those mana dogs are gonna come quite in handy pretty soon, because we're gonna do something really cool that maybe only Tasigur can do. So Tasigur has the ability of Delve, and he has a 5 generic mana cost, meaning that we can get him out pretty early with a bunch of fetch lands, and then cards like Serum Visions, Brainstorms, Impulse, Gitaxian Probe, and you can fill your graveyard pretty big and just delve Tasigur into play quite early in the game. So now we have a high CMC cost creature card in play, and that means that when you cast your Eldritch Evolution and sacrifice Tasigur the Golden Fang as an additional casting cost, you're going to search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost 8 or less. That means Razaketh. And what you do is that you pay 2 life and sacrifice a creature card like that Bird of Paradise and search your library for whatever card you wish and put it into your hand. And you're going to find life. 1 green mana, all lands you control are 1/1 creature cards until end of turn. And that means that if you have enough land cards and enough life, of course, you can assemble the entire Isochron Scepter Dramatic Reversal combo, but also find mana rocks that you might need to get infinite mana. All that you really need is 4 tutors and then 3 mana. You find these 4 cards and then you cast this thing for 2 mana. Then you cast this thing and produce that 2 mana, and then you just need 1 more mana to activate, because Mox Opal will also give you 1 mana. So in the end, 4 land cards and 3 mana. If you calculate in the Eldritch Evolution, it's 3 more mana. But also, if you also calculate in the life, it is a total of 7 mana currently. However, if you don't have 7 mana that turn, Razaketh could fix that by fetching more rocks and sacrificing more lands. But depending on how much life you have and how much stuff you have that you can sacrifice, let's say that there is a Manglehorn in play in an opponent's control, then Razaketh can find you, snuff out by paying 2 life and sacrifice a mana dog, and then cast Snuff Out by paying 4 life and destroying Manglehorn. You could do the same with Massacre. If an opponent controls a plane, Massacre is free to cast and will give all hate bears -2/-2 until the end of turn. You can also use Slaughter Pact. Razaketh could also find you Force of Will to deal with a lot of stuff. So in the end, once you successfully get that Razaketh in play from your Eldritch Evolution, you should have the game. But also, looking at this combo, this is a one-card combo. All that you really need is to draw or tutor for Eldritch Evolution. Tasigur the Golden Fang will be hanging out in your command zone, and we will bring Razaketh from your deck into play, and he will assemble the rest. We might as well be looking at Death. So for 2 mana, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield and lose life equal to its converted mana cost. So this is a budget version of Reanimator. So you can bring your Razaketh into play from your graveyard for only 2 mana. So in other words, you could be playing a Reanimator package like Dread Return, and maybe this enchantment that will bring Razaketh back into play for only 2 mana. However, you could also play Necrotic Ooze. Necrotic Ooze will have Razaketh's activated ability as long as Razaketh is hanging around in its graveyard. So instead of 2 mana lose 8 life, it becomes 4 mana. Now if you're going for something like this, I would highly recommend Cephalid's Consoleum. If you have Treasure Hold, which means 7 or more cards inside your graveyard, which this deck should be really good at assembling, you can sacrifice this land card to draw 3 cards and then discard 3 cards. So you could discard down your Razaketh to your graveyard with this land, and then you could cast your Necrotic Ooze for only 4 mana instead of 8, and getting that Razaketh ability in play. But if you're going for this Necrotic Ooze, you might as well play the entire package. Here is Hermit Druid. So let's say that it's turn 2 and you put Hermit Druid in play, and Necrotic Ooze is in your library somewhere. Turn 3 you activate Hermit Druid, and if you have no basic land cards inside your entire deck, you're going to put your entire deck into your graveyard. This means that Narcomoebia will trigger and be put into play from your deck. And then you have this creature card with Unnerve. You pay 1 blue mana, return this creature card from your graveyard to play, tap it because it has haste, and untap something that will produce a green mana, a land. After that, you cast Dread Return from your graveyard by sacrificing these 3 creature cards. That will bring back Necrotic Ooze from your graveyard into play. And with that green mana that you got from that Fate Stitcher, you will activate Tornling's ability that will give Necrotic Ooze haste. Tornling is hanging around in your graveyard, and Necrotic Ooze has this ability. So now Necrotic Ooze can be activated, even though it has Summoning Sickness. After that, you activate this creature card's ability, this Treasure Hold ability. Because we have 7 or more cards inside our graveyard, we have our entire deck inside our graveyard. So we will be untapping 3 land cards. Then we'll be activating this Horseshoe Crab for 1 blue mana to untap Necrotic Ooze. This will now generate infinite mana, and from that you simply cast your Tasigur the Golden Fang and win the game. However, I want to do something. I want to replace Horseshoe Crab with this fairy, Necrotic. So for 2 mana, an untap symbol, you will untap Necrotic Ooze and remove the top card from an opponent's deck into exile. So you tap Necrotic Ooze with this creature card's ability, then you untap Necrotic Ooze with this creature card's ability. And if this creature can produce 2 more mana, actually this thing will produce 3 mana, you will both have infinite mana, but also remove all opponent's deck from the game. And then you simply just pass turn. Or, again, we have infinite mana, we could be doing stuff with their deck. We could play their entire deck actually. And we could win with whatever win con they actually have. The reason why I think Necrotic is a lot better than Horseshoe Crab is that because Necrotic can actually do something compared to this thing. You can untap it, and that's cool. It has something of a semi-vigilance, but this can actually somehow produce card draw, you could call it. It also interacts quite interesting with Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, and Mystical Tutor, and maybe other top deck manipulations. This combo is a quite big package. We have the Hermit Druid, Necrotic, Narcomoebia, Fate Stitcher, Necrotic Ooze, Fawnling, Dread Return, and Cross and Restorer. So it's a big package. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. However, some of the cards here are quite good. Fate Stitcher is something of a ritual inside the graveyard, and this Necrotic Ooze is something that can synchronize quite well if Razaketh ends up in the graveyard. The same thing with Dread Return. You can bring Razaketh back into play with Dread Return, this is a big mana dog that will usually tap for 3 mana. So it's a 3 mana dog that will tap for 3 mana. That's quite good. Hermit Druid is a win con, that's cool, and Necrotic is interactive and a card drawing engine, you could call it. It's a grindy card, you could call it. But let's take an extra look at Fate Stitcher together with Cephalid Consuleum once more and Mana Vault. So let's say that Mana Vault is tapped and you have Fate Stitcher in your hand and you get Fate Stitcher into your graveyard with Cephalid Consuleum. You now return Fate Stitcher to play with your Unearth ability and tap it to untap Mana Vault. So Fate Stitcher can be something of a dark ritual, you could call it, not in instant speed, and will only be 1 blue mana, generate 3 colorless mana, or store 3 colorless mana so you can untap Mana Vault, and that is going to be good during the future of your turns. So Fate Stitcher is not a useless card. It's an interesting card in a Reanimator deck, which this kinda is. And the mana that Fate Stitcher gives you from that Mana Vault might be the little mana you need to get this big demon into play. But also, if you're assembling a Tasigur the Golden Fang deck, you should maybe consider playing Training Grounds. But also, Seedborn Muse. These cards will help you out going into grindy matchups. They are 2 good cards that will produce a lot of card draw with Tasigur the Golden Fang. So in Seedborn Muse case, untap all permanents you control during each player's turn. That means in each opponent's end step, if nothing happened, you didn't use any counterspell, you will activate Tasigur's ability as much as you can. But also, Training Grounds will reduce his activated cost down to 2. So now he becomes kinda, you could call it 2 mana draw card, and that is powerful. If you are playing against Tasigur the Golden Fang and he has put one of these cards into play, you need to stop it. You need to destroy Training Grounds and you need to kill Seedborn Muse, because you can't let Tasigur the Golden Fang have that much card draw power. I would also like to demonstrate one more card. This is Ulvenwald Tracker. He comes into play for 1 green mana. It's a 1/1. That's a really cheap creature card. For 2 mana, tap it and you force target creature you control fights another target creature. Now, because Tasigur the Golden Fang has a delve ability, he will keep coming back. He's quite tricky to deal with. And with Ulvenwald Tracker, you can quite early in the game sit there and control the board state. These 2 guys are going on a manhunt, killing stuff in all directions. It's quite pesky to deal with. Trust me, this is really annoying playing against, because this is spot removal in instant speed, ongoingly. This will also bring us to an end to this tutorial, this deck tech video. This Reanimator Tasigur control list. I hope you enjoyed it. I really want to emphasize that you can build Tasigur in a lot of strange ways. He has a lot of stuff going for him, and I think he will keep sticking around. And a really big commander that comes into play quite early and has a card drawing engine, but also a win con if you have infinite mana, that is powerful. And this little trick is something that I think only Tasigur can do. Delve is quite important for this to function, as you need to have your Tasigur in play quite early to make Eldritch Evolution fetch Razaketh the Full-Blooded functional. A commander on the CMC cost of 6 without Delve wouldn't really be able to do it the same way. And because this is pretty much a 1-card combo, it is quite strong. And I might also say quite consistent.